Well, good morning and welcome to Mindful Movement with AARP Alabama. I am Margie Curry and I'm your host this morning. And again, we have our session today with our certified yoga instructor, Becca Impello, who has been working and teaching and practicing yoga for over 20 years. As we see that we want everybody to make sure that you check with your physician to make sure you are physically capable of participating in any of these programs. And we don't want you to get hurt, so we want you to be ready. Remember that AARP empowers people to choose how they live as they age. AARP is the largest nonpartisan 501c4 organization that has over 400,000 members in Alabama alone. AARP's role is to advocate for those who are 50 and over. Alabama is committed to offering opportunities for people to stay engaged from your homes. And the Mindful Movement series gives you that opportunity to stay busy. So we're going to have Becca who's going to come on and she's going to tell us all about what we're going to be doing today. Hey, Becca.
Hey, Margie. Good morning. How are you? Somebody's
Sorry about that.
That happens to us all, no problem.
Yeah.
Today we're going to do what I like to call an all-around practice, right? That's where we're not zeroing in on a specific something or other or a specific area of the body. We're going to try to do something for everything. We'll get some balance work. We'll get work for the arms, the legs, the spine. We'll do a little bit of it all.
All right. Sounds great. Sounds great for us. I hope everybody's ready and make sure that you have checked with your physician because we don't want you to be hurt at any point during this session. All right, Becca, take it away.
All right. And also, like we said, we want you to, check with your physician. That's a sort of a standard recommendation, right? That protects you. But also, as you're participating, you're making choices, right? I'm going to give you options a lot of the time. And it's always within your, right to choose, your responsibility, really, to choose what's best for you, right? That might mean skipping certain things or doing some things a little bit differently than I might be doing them. All right. So we're going to use our chair as we always do. It's our main prop. It gives us some options to have something to hold on when we get to our standing portion of the practice today. All right, so let's sit tall. Try to get your feet anchored, on the floor. By the way, you could be in shoes or you could be barefoot like I am. Just make sure, you're not in something slippery so that when we stand up, you're not going to slide. All right, well, let's just take the hands and place them firmly on the thighs, on the knees. Sit up a little taller, and then close your eyes if you're comfortable. If you'd rather keep your eyes open, just look down at the floor. We're trying to just take out a little bit of that extra sensory input that we get through our vision, right? So that we can focus on sensing and feeling inside of our body a little bit more. All right, so as we sit tall and we take our awareness internally, I want you to just take a moment to notice your physical body, right? And to be grateful for your body. We're going to just send gratitude to our body as it is right here in this moment, right? It got us up and out of the bed for another day today. Notice yourself breathing, feeling a little bit of a rise or a lift of the chest as you inhale, a little drop as you exhale. See if you can feel your feet on the floor. Feel the firmness of your chair underneath your hips. And take another couple breaths and let's just try to deepen our breath a little bit, right? Keep it comfortable, but go ahead and see what happens when you try to take a slow, deeper breath in. Hold it just a split second and then slowly release it out. See if you can do this all through the nose, both inhale and exhale through the nose. Even if that's not natural, just give it a try and see if you can do it for a few rounds. Again, nice slow, full breath in. Slow breath out. One more time, slow, deep breath in. All right, now go ahead and open up your eyes. You can let your hands stay in your lap or drop them down to your sides if you want to. And let's warm up the body. We're going to run through from head to toe, getting everything moving a little bit. We'll do all of that seated in the chair, and then we'll get up and we'll do some things in standing. We'll use the chair for some of those things, and you'll always have it handy if you need it. All right, next time that chin pulls over to one side, drop it down towards the collarbone or the shoulder, and then slowly bring it across the chest to the other side. We're just doing some neck rolls here. Roll that head back through across to the other side, back and forth a couple more times. Good. One more time, back and forth. Good. Now, a little new one. Maybe I don't think I've done this with this group before. I want you to sort of imagine your nose as, a piece of chalk or a laser pointer, and you've got a big, screen up in front of you. You're like at the IMAX movie, right? And I want you to start using your nose to draw a circle. All right. So you could start small, but gradually see if you can get bigger with that circle. So if you're drawing a big circle, your chin will end up down towards your chest. Try to get as far over to the side. Now here's the tricky part. Sometimes that top of the circle might be a little hard to draw. And it's okay if your circle is a little flat on the top, right? Sit tall as you take that nose more up, really lift up like you're trying to really reach the ceiling. This may help if there's any pinching or, that sort of sensation on the back of your neck. Now let's trace our circle the other direction a few times. Just reverse, make it smaller if something is complaining. Explore if you've got room to make it bigger. All right, and then bring that head back up to center. All right, circle now the shoulders. I'm going to move those shoulders forward and up towards the ears, and then squeeze them back and draw them down. Good. This is a great one to take some breaths with. Inhaling as you bring the shoulders forward and up. Exhaling back and down. Let's take 3 more of these. Shoulder rolls. These are some of my favorite moves to do just every day. Anytime I feel a little stiff or tight in the upper back or in the neck, I do a few shoulder rolls. I do a few head rolls or make those circles with my nose. All right, let those arms stay back and down. Let's warm up the rest of the arm now. So start down at the hand, circle the wrists. Go the other way. Open and close the hand a few times. All right, and then hands just sort of on your lap. We're going to do just a stretch. You're going to spread out your fingers as wide as you can. And then try to just bring the pinky finger. This may be hard to see in the video, but just bring the pinky finger in as far as you can. That next finger is going to try to follow it, but try to keep stretching it out. And then let's bring that second finger in, the ring finger. Keep the other stretched out. And then the next finger, and then the index, and then the thumb. Squeeze tight, and then open up. Thumb, index finger, stretch out as far as you can. Middle finger, ring finger, and pinky finger all spread out. All right, shake it out. All right, now let's do a little bit more for the shoulder joint itself. Reach the arms up. Bring them down to the sides or maybe slightly back behind you, right? So forward and up. If you need to help one of your arms, you could clasp your hands to help get them up. And then bring them back and down. Let's do 3 more. Two more. One more. All right, hands to the heart. Now we're still involving the arms here, but we're trying to get a little more work going on in our spine. So we'll pull and push with the arms and the hands, but try to start arching or pushing your chest forward, so arching your back, and then rounding your back when you push forward. You can even drop your chin towards your chest, so pull and push, pull and push. Get that spine moving as much as feels comfortable for you. So this is one of those places where you choose. Does it feel okay to go bigger, or does it feel better to stay a little more moderate? Last 3. And 1. All right. Now, continuing to work on the spine, but especially the lower back. Get your feet out wide, right? We're going to fold forward. You can go any amount. You can stop with your hands or your elbows on your knees. You could slide your hands down your shins. You could touch the floor in front, all right? Any distance is fine. And then we're going to roll it back up, sit up tall, and then fold forward and down. All right, so this is essentially a bending over type of movement. We're just simply doing it from a chair, right? That gives us a little more support. Also takes the backs of the legs out of the equation, because sometimes it's hard to bend over because the backs of the legs are tight. So we're mobilizing our hips and our back here for this very important, daily movement. You probably have to bend down and get, something off the ground, or get to your feet or your shoes a couple times a day. That's last 3. One more. Feel free to stay here this time if it's comfortable. If it's a little uncomfortable, then you just have to choose. Is it, a discomfort that you can be with for a bit? Or is it a discomfort that you'd rather not, explore today? In which case, come on up. It's a great place for a breath, a deep breath in like we did at the beginning. All right, and then let's come on back up, tall. All right, now feet can come back in towards the middle or towards the center, and we're going to march. Now, try not to lean back. You might hold on to the sides of your chair to give you some more stability, or if you want a little more challenge, try taking your arms out or even up overhead, just to challenge the core, the trunk to stay stable. All right. Slow it down for our last 4. Make this feel like you've got a really heavy boot on, right? Or your foot is stuck to the floor. You got to pull up a little bit more intentionally. All right, now walk those feet out a little wide, and let's squeeze the knees together, push the knees apart. So we're just trying again to mobilize, warm up the hip joint with a little different movement. Swivel in, press out. Not everybody's knees are going to be able to come together in the center, so just go as far as you can. All right, now let's move it on down and finish up our warm-up by getting down to the knees and the feet. So start with one leg, bend and straighten that knee. Try to pay attention. What's the sensation in there? Do you have any little noises or any, little crackles or maybe big crackles in that knee joint? Often moving it around is going to help lubricate and get some of that noisiness to diminish. All right, let's see if we can keep that foot forward next time and point and flex at the ankle. See if you can get a little spread of the toes, a little curl of the toes. Even if you're in shoes, try and see what you can feel there. Now a few circles. Circle that ankle round. The other way. And release. All right. Notice how that leg feels a little more tired than the other leg for the moment. All right, but let's go ahead and do the same thing. Other knee, bend and straighten. Good. Keep it out in front. Point and flex the ankle. Circle. and go the other way. All right, so we've gotten the whole body warmed up or moving a little bit. You know, the warm up is partly for the muscles and the joints themselves, the tissues, but we're also warming up or just connecting our brain, our nervous system to the body by paying attention to the sensations of our movement and giving everything in the body a chance to be seen, quote unquote, or noticed. All right, let's stand up. We're going to use the chair. We're going to be doing some weight bearing through our arms next to do a little upper body work and stretch. If the chair feels like too much for you, like too much pressure on your wrists or your shoulders, or just gets tiring really fast, another way to do this would be to do to a wall, right? So you could do a similar kind of thing on the wall. We'll be pushing back and back into plank and that sort of thing. And if you want, you could do it on the wall. If you want it harder, you get down on the floor, okay? All right, so we're going to take our hands and place them down on the chair or the wall. And then go ahead and just walk the feet back as far as you're comfortable. So you won't walk as far back if you're on the wall. All right, although you do have something to play with there. So I'm in a nice push-up position, and I'm pushing nice and firmly, and I'm trying to make that push happen all the way up here in my shoulder and in my upper back, right? Not just pushing my elbows straight, I'm pushing my chest away from the chair or away from the wall. All right. Now, we're going to do a little movement. You can certainly bend your knees a bit as we do this transition. So we're going to push back with the hip. Again, maybe knees bent helps you do that, right? So this is like downward facing dog, a version of downward dog. If you were on the floor, you would look just like a downward dog shape, a triangle of sorts. And now we're shifting forward again. As we shift forward, we're going to keep that body in a nice straight line. Don't let the hips sink, right? Keep them up. All right, push it back again. This is also a nice stretch for most folks. It's a stretch perhaps for the arms, the shoulders, into the sides of the rib cage, the back. All right, again, shift forward. Hold that plank nice and strong. Push back. Feel that stretch. If you'd like, you can shift your hips a little bit, maybe bend one knee and then the other, a little back and forth. One more time, shift forward. And push back. Take a nice deep breath here. All right, and walk it in and stand up tall. And just take a moment to check in. Maybe you're aware of your wrists, or your forearms and elbows a little more right now because of that weight bearing there. So just take notice. All right. For the next couple, we're going to maybe, want to have the back of the chair, or again, you could still be close to a wall. Some folks are going to feel fine without having that chair to hold on to. So it's your choice to touch or hold as you need it, right? All right. So now we're stepping back with one leg, taking a nice long stance, right? So as long of a step back as you're comfortable with. And then bend that front knee. So this is a lunge position. In yoga, we often call it the warrior position. All right. See if you can get that back leg nice and straight. Really push back in the thigh. Your knee should feel straight. Your heel may or may not be on the ground. It's okay if it's up a little bit. But we want this buttock active, right? So make sure that's engaged. All right. Now, if you want a little more stretch, try and lift your low belly up, almost like you're zipping up a tight pair of pants, right? You kind of have to suck that in, right? That'll open up the hip. And then optional, take those arms up, right? Palms can face in. That's a great position for most shoulders. Going to feel a little freer, right? Arms can be wide or they can come in narrow, close together, but reach up, lift up. If the arms don't come all the way up to your ears, that's okay. Reach them up as far as feels comfortable for you. It could be one arm. Remember, if you're holding on to the chair, you might only be reaching one arm up. All right, one more breath. Release. Hold on if needed. Step in. Take a moment. Or just notice your two legs, right? That right one feels different. It's a little more alive for me because it was getting that big stretch back. And just compare the two sides. This is part of our brain work, right? When we notice the sensations in our body after we've done a physical pose. All right, let's go for the other side. Stepping into our warrior stance, our warrior lunge. Front knee is bent. Back leg, I'm going to start to really pay attention to it. Activating, pushing back in that thigh, squeezing that buttock. If I want a little bit more, I can try to draw my low belly up even, a little further, right? Engaging those abdominal muscles, tucking the pelvis a bit more. And then option for those arms, one or both, overhead, stretch up. Good, one more breath. And then release, those arms come down, step in. Again, pause a moment here just to observe the sensation, noticing the two sides of the body. Anywhere else that you're feeling sensory input. All right, now let's take it to a second time with that warrior lunge. So we're stepping into the same position again. All right. So this helps reinforce some things in our, hopefully this second time it's a little easier to feel that back leg, engaging. All right, so lift up that low belly. This time, however, one or both arms, take them back behind you, low. So back by the hips, turn the palms forward, roll the shoulders out. Again, get a little more lift in that front. If you feel a little too much pinching in your back, well then, make sure you're not overdoing that lift of the chest, right? Lift from down low. Good, one more breath. Now I'm going to add a different, an extra move here for this one. You can keep the arms back, or maybe you want them forward to touch the chair. Straighten that front knee. All right, so now both legs are straight. You still want this back leg kind of active. All right, it gets hard to keep it active as you fold forward. So the arms can stay back, or the hands can come forward to kind of just, rest on the chair and support your body weight to give you some balance. This should be giving us some kind of stretch in the back of this leg here that's forward. All right, one more breath. And then let's lift back up. And step it in. Again, take another pause to notice the sensation. What are you aware of in your body? And then let's go to the other side again. Step back with the other leg. Get that warrior lunge stance. Front knee bent. Back leg active. Push into that back glute. Good. And then arms again are back. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Lift up from that low belly. Take another 2 or 3 breaths here. And then we're going to release with your next exhale. Step in. Pause. Notice. All right, we're going to finish our standing portion with some balance work, all right? And instead of choosing tree pose, which is, a classic yoga pose, and if you prefer to do that, you go for it, all right? But as a different way of balancing, I want us to work on, if you choose, standing with one foot in front of the other, like you're on a tightrope, right? And then just seeing whether you can let go and for how long. And if you don't feel too comfortable letting go entirely, keep your fingertips touching your chair. But another way to challenge your balance that doesn't require you to let go, you could turn your head and sort of look around the room. Now, you can do that if you're not holding on as well. That's going to be sort of a double challenge. But just feel those feet doing their little wobble. Maybe feel your legs doing a little twitching. It's okay if you're shifting, moving around. The goal is not to be absolutely still. The goal is just to challenge your balance and notice what the response in your body is like. All right, let's switch to the other side. So if you want to do tree pose instead, go for it. That's the standing on one leg pose, right, with the other knee turned out. Or go to the other tightrope arrangement with the other foot in front, all right? Feet just right on that same line. And then practice letting go. Option to move the eyes around. You might be touching to do that, or you might have the hand off the chair. All right, good. All right, and then just stand on 2 feet again with your feet apart and just notice that and how stable that feels now compared to standing in the tightrope or standing on the one leg if you were doing tree pose. All right, let's finish out today seated in the chair. We're going to do a couple stretches, one for the shoulders, one for the hips, and then we're going to finish with another little sort of brain exercise of sorts. All right, so let's take one arm across the chest. You can use your other hand to help pull it there, give it a little stretch. Okay, release that and take the other arm across. Release that, bring both arms back, right? Maybe you can grab hold of your chair. It could be down low near the hips or back on the side. So it just sort of depends on your chair whether this will work, you know, your chair and your body. If you can't grab anything, then reach back as far as you can. Try to open up through the chest. All right, and release. All right, we'll stretch for the hip. Cross one ankle up to the knee, or if that's still too high for your hip, cross it on the shin. Could be close to the ankle, could be up closer to the knee, but try and get that leg that's on top to turn so that the inner thigh is more up towards the ceiling, right? This rotates our hip, puts a little stretch into some of those gluteal muscles, and then whatever position your leg is in, you've got the option to sit up tall and maybe lean into it a little bit. Take a few breaths here. It's a great place to come back to that slightly deeper, fuller inhale if you can. Slow exhale. Both of them in and out through the nose when possible. All right, and then release. Let's do the other side. The same options. Cross ankle over to the other leg, either down low or up a little higher, or all the way up on the thigh. Sit tall. Notice your 2 sides. My left side is definitely a lot tighter, so this knee stays up higher, and I feel a little different sensation there. Sit tall, maybe lean into it if you want a little more stretch. Sometimes sitting tall is enough and you don't need to lean, or you don't have room to lean, perhaps. Good. All right, release it. Sit back in your chair a little bit. Now, this last little exercise is, again, just to give our brain a little bit of a challenge, all right? So it's going to involve the hands and the feet, all right? So once you start with your right hand and just start to circle that right wrist, you can close your eyes if you want, right? Sometimes looking at someone else doing it can mess you up, all right? And then you're going to add your left foot. You're going to start to circle your left foot and ankle, all right? Yeah. Right hand, left foot. Now add the left hand. All right, you got both hands, left foot. Now let's add the right foot. So we've got them all moving. All right, keep them all going, except stop moving the right hand. All right, and then stop moving the left foot. So you can keep the left hand, the right foot going. And then stop the left hand, just the right foot. And then go ahead and bring that to stillness too. Just pause. Feel the remnants of sensation in your hands and your feet. How well did you do coordinating that? Was it difficult to figure out where your right and left were with all that? And let's just go back to where we started. Maybe eyes closed. Take another deep breath in. Long breath out. One more. All right, and that's all our time for today. It went by fast. Thanks so much for joining us. We're always glad to have you with you. I hope you enjoyed that session. I can't hear you, Margie. You might be, there we go.
Okay, now we go, there we go. All kind of sound problems today, huh?
Okay.
But we enjoyed that session, and thank you, Sarah, very much. And we thank everyone for tuning in today with AARP Alabama. We'll see you again on Mindful Movement. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.